I was curious to play in it. It was something that intrigued me.
It was so well written and the scripts were fantastic, and I couldn't believe it was really a true story.
I was just taken by how strange it is.
And it really is so impossible to imagine that it could have happened, but it did.
So yeah, that and I grew up in Texas, so there was some sort of understanding to these types of people.
It's a challenge, and it makes you kind of have to invent points of view that maybe don't seem so clear to you.
And it felt like, we weren't making fun of them. Like Lizzie said, we were trying to understand what led to this.
It's very human. It's a real story, but you also have to have somebody writing it who understands the human nature.
When the writing's that good, you find yourself not even thinking like an actor. I found myself reading like an audience member, which is exciting when that happens.
I think my first impression was I don't want to diagnose this person. I feel like just gonna figure out what kind of value system and life experiences would lead to these kinds of choices.
I love playing people who are so incredibly different, and you really have to do so much investigation about and what kind of struggle that person is in. And I think Betty was in a tremendous struggle. I think she was in a lot of pain, and so that was something that I was very interested in.
I thought Don was in a lot of ways like this sort of quintessential American male of a certain generation. And the more I learned about the actual man, the more I really liked and respected him.
My first instinct was, huh. Yeah, I was pretty confused as to who this person was, and that made me excited.
You're not calling on your parallels or lived experiences that you share with the character. You're playing a role, which is really the most fun, the most rewarding in my experiences.
As Jesse got to know me more and more, he said, the more I get to know you, the more I realize you really have not a single thing in common with Betty.
Well, there was something about Sherry that really popped off the page to me and made me think I could have some fun with it, because she was like, gossipy and a beautician that reminded me of my real life Aunt Sharon. So I was like, can you send me all the pictures of you when you were 30? And that's kind of like what got me excited.